Hi there. Welcome. My name is Oliver. I work in business intelligence, marketing, sales, business communication, and analytics. So in this series of videos, we're gonna look at how to build loyalty programs for, let's say, a hotel, or if you work in the hotel or hospitality industry, and you have a data set and you want to build a kind of a loyalty program for your customers, based on how many nights they've slept in your like hotel or in different branches of your hotel, how you gonna go about it. So I have a data set, that I downloaded from Kaggle, and I think that Kaggle is one of the best places to download data from, to practice and exercise, your own skills. So before we get into it, I like to say a thing or two. So for everyone who works in data analytics or in business intelligence, as I do, I think that three basic software skills are very important. At least three or four. First of all, Excel. Pivot, microbes, and the rest you need to know, like Microsoft Excel. That's very basic. Then you need Tableau or Power BI, for dashboard and visualization. Then also, you need to know like SQL, you know, or SQL. I think that these three skills are very important. And when you master these three, you'll be able to call yourself like a business intelligence guy, or like someone who works in m- like solid use of data for, insights, and also building like dashboards, like increasing scenarios, and also like making profit for your company. So in this series of videos, I'm gonna show you how I built a, like a loyalty program from this data set I picked up from Kaggle. And in this case, we're gonna use Excel. After that, I would visualize the data uh, in Tableau for you to also check it out. So I'll put a link in the video, so that you could check all these things out yourself. I would also try and represent the same data also on Power BI, and maybe do a bit of SQL, like querying the data to find, some insights, a thing or two from it. Yes. So before we start, well, so that's what these series of videos are going to be about. But before we start, let's look at these two files here. I'd like to show you something. This is the completed work, right, in Excel, and this is the raw file. Now, this raw file, you need to know the differences between this one and that one. This is an Excel file. They all seem to have some kind of X on it, but beside it, these ones seem to have like dashes, like some kind of six dashes, like short dashes over there. Whereas this one seems to have like an A and a comma or something like that. So this is a CSV file. It's a CSV file because it's basically a comma separated value, or like the values inside this data set are separated by commas. And so that's what makes it a CSV file. So that's the difference. So it's important to take note of these two. Now, as I said, I already completed this assignment, so I'm going to show you how it kind of looks like. So this one is basically, how it looks like. And these are some key business intelligence questions that are going to guide the whole analytics, or this that seem to be the guiding like points for the whole video. So what countries have the highest number of number of clients based on reservation? How many cancellations do we get within what period, like first and monthly? Then which countries seem to have the highest and lowest cancellation? Top 10 in descending order or ascending order? Yeah. Then we also have the loyalty program, which seems to be like the main focus of this video. But of course, I'll try and, answer these questions here. You could also try your hands on, some of them, or this data set, which I'll put in the video. Then you can practice these ones and also perfect your skills. Now, this is also the loyalty program that is completed, and you can see that we have, like, for instance, bronze membership. We have silver. We have, sorry, silver here. We have gold, and probably like other ones might come in, right? And there's also premium. So we're gonna look at how I came by this, and also answer some key questions. How you know, this really affected like you can see that when we change it, we can see like some changes also in the total numbers or the numbers here. And so this is what we're going to focus on, in this whole video or in these like sets of videos that I'm going to make. Now let's get into action. So I'm just going to minimize this and we'll go on to the main data set. As I said, I'll make this data set available, in the video so you could just download it and practice or just follow suit with this. So this is the main data set. I just picked it up from Kaggle, as I said. I have no clue. I only know kind of like the column heads and what seems to be inside the data that I know that it's on like hotel data, like based on the number of nights people have slept, the type of food they wanted, from different like countries and stuff like that. So that's what I have here in this video, and that's what we're gonna use. So normally when you download the data from Kaggle, this is how it's gonna look like, right? It looks a bit messy, and this is clearly a CSV file. You could see even from here that there's like CSV or something like that written over there, so you could see. Now, how do we work for this? We need to put like every row that you see here, right, under like these column heads that we see. Now, let me just bold this one. So I'll make it bold. I just select the whole thing like this, and I'll go to the home button and turn it, to bold. Just click on B and it turns so that I can be able to at least separate the column heads from the rows. Now we have this. How do we go about to make sure that we have these rows, right, or these text here under these columns? So these first row should just fall under the first column. The second here, in that order. The third in that order, right? So how do we go about that? We're going to look at that. But before we hop onto that, let's just quickly know what's the size of this data. So this session is going to focus more on cleaning the data, and like making it ready for instance, Power Pivot analysis, or so that we can really answer some of the key questions or the business intelligence questions we've been asked in this video. Now we have quite a huge data set, right? It's almost 120,000 rows of data. So this is quite a huge one, right? So first of all, we need to clean your data. So there are several ways you can clean your data. It's all up to you. And we're going to use some of them, some functions and other things like that, count blank, unique, and also some filters to be able to, make the data clean. But the first one is to make sure that we have these rows under the columns. And to do that, we just have to select a whole row. Let's say, I mean, a whole column, sorry. So this is column A, we just select it. Now we go to the data button, and this is what we really want to do. We want the text to fit into the column. So each row of text should come under a particular column. So we do this here. Now we need this button. We select the whole column, then we go to this button here, to data, then button here. We select, and now here you can see that there is a delimiter. Now, what is a delimiter? A delimiter is basically something like a comma, right? So the delimiter is what separates these files. And clearly you can see from here that it tells you, the system tells you that, oh, there is a comma that is separating these files. So there's a delimiter. The delimiter could also be a semicolon or, even dashes or something like that, or even a full stop sometimes. Now we'll move on from here. You don't have to do anything, just press next. And now here it has shown you what is separating the files or the rows. So it is the comma. So you need to check it. If it's not checked, you just have to check it from your area. And it's going to give you like kind of an overview, right? A preview of how it's going to look after it's done. So we do this, then we click on next. We don't have to do anything again, just finish it and wait for the magic to happen. All right, so there you go. Now the entire row of 120,000 seem to have, transformed into this. Now it's all up to you, right? We have to clean the data, make use of what we don't really uh, need, or make use of what we really need and throw away and delete other stuff like that, just to get the data ready. So this is what we're going to do. First of all, if you're working with data, you have to decide which data you want to use. And this is also very important when you work in business intelligence. Now, what do I need, or which part of the data do I really want to make use of to answer these key questions that I've been given down here? As let me show you again. So here, these key questions. What set of data do I need? You need to ask yourself these questions and also go back to clear those ones you don't really need. Now, we don't need a whole bunch of data sets, so we're going to get rid of it. But we need to know what's in almost every column. So let's stretch it out a bit. You could also use a formula to stretch it out. Control H O A, and it's going to separate out every of this one. But we're not going to use that here at the moment. So we just wanted to know what's here. So it's the date. Right, so that's the date function, and what we have here, we have the names, the email address, something like that. Okay, and even credit card details. Well, maybe we don't really need that, but yeah, just make use of what you want and delete or clear those you don't need. But I always say, if you're not sure, make a copy of this whole data set before you proceed to make sure that you're working with. So in this case, you just make another copy of this one to make sure that you can go back to anything you've deleted by mistake. All right, so now let's clear the data or clean at least some things we don't really want. Let's get rid of it and also repeated stuff like that. I would like to begin by checking the date. Now there is a date here, right? So 01/07/2015. Now let's head to this site. We can see that the date is separated here. So this column D, E, and also G seem to be all about the date. So why don't we just get rid of this, because we have it together here. So we just need to cut down the number of columns so that it's easy to work for them. So first of all, I'll just get rid of this. And to get rid of it, you could just select the whole thing, the whole column, then click the side and delete. This will delete the entire column. So this is it, it's gone. Once again, we do the same thing, right click and you go to delete, and it goes on the same way. This is the arrival day of the month if you don't need it, which is basically the day of the month in the uh, in the date column. So the same way we delete it, we get rid of it. Now, normally I would want to have the names and also the reservation status closer to the early part of the data set, right? So I want it to rather come here to this column. So what do? I just scroll there and I select the whole column. Now, when your cursor turns this way, put your hands on shift and just drag it to where you want. So I want it to be the first part. So I want it to be the first column. So I just drag and drop it here and I have it there, right? The emails over there, right? So if it's the names that you want to come here, it's the same thing. You just have to select the whole name set, and I wanted to bring this one first. So I do that, shift, then drag. You select the whole column, then you shift and drag it. Okay, so the names are here. I also want to bring the date and maybe the check-in status or the reservation status, so I can select this one. These two together, you just have to put your hands on shift and it'll select the two columns. Then you can move it when the cursor turns this way. You just put your hands on shift, then drag it to where you want. So I want it to be here. So now I have the two here, right? Right. So you can see that at each turn, the data becomes cleaner or it becomes better to use based on how you want to use it. Now, I need to get rid of some columns. For instance, I don't really see the need of like the phone numbers, so you could clear it. If you also don't need the credit card numbers, you could equally clear it. You don't need anything like that. Go ahead and delete it. So now, what is this address? It's really hard to understand what it means. But if these are coordinates, that's fine. But if they're not coordinates, it's really hard. And if you don't really need it, you could get rid of it the same way. You just right click, then delete. It'll be gone. We can also go here to check. So you need to first of all familiarize yourself with the data, and that is always key. To continue with data analytics, you always need to make sure that you're cleaning the data and you know the data. Familiarize yourself with the data and you could clear whichever or whatever you don't really need. So that is that. Now, I think I still want to clear more of it. For instance, this week, arrival date of the week, I think I want to keep it for now because it would inform, you know, business intelligence. For instance, we can check to see which week we got the highest number of booking or client visiting a hotel, stuff like that. This could also inform marketing strategy. So maybe I'll leave it at that place. Okay, now let's go on to the days in nights. Okay, so stays in weekend nights. I think this is very important data set. We're going to leave it there because we're going to design the loyalty programs based on the nights and like days they've slept or used our platform or our hotel. So the same thing, I think, stays in weeknights. These two are very important data set. Now, adults or the number of adults, I think it's also important to know what like children. Now, this is another important area. Children cannot be in 0.01 or something like that, which means that these numbers are in decimal. So if you're gonna work with it, or this figure is in decimal. So if you're gonna work with it, if you know you're gonna work with it, you have to go home here and check the status of it. You have to, or you want to convert it into real numbers so that you can count it. But I don't really need it, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'll just kind of select the whole thing, and I will right click and delete. I don't really need that. Babies, I think also it may not play a key role here, so I would also equally delete it. But if you know you're gonna design the loyalty programs for kids as well, then it's important to keep these data set. Now, we can also go to the repeated guest. This is also another important data set. Why? Because you don't want to just give your like category or the status of your loyalty program to anybody at all. Someone who just sleeps or who comes to your hotel just once, you may not want to consider them for loyalty programs. But if you also want to consider them just to draw them coming back again, something like that, that's also fine. You can use it as you want. Then there is also this one, previous cancellation. These are all important data set that you may want to use, right, to inform your decisions and loyalty program. I think these are. I'll also get rid of the phone numbers. I don't need them for now. I would also get rid of the credit cards information. Normally reserve that for the engineering team or other stuff like that. Then the total special guest. I think this is also important. I want to know which of the total special guests I can consider for loyalty program. So just want to leave it there. Then requires car parking or okay, right? Okay, so requires car parking. This is also an important area you want to consider. If they require spaces to park their cars, it's also important. Now, this company, what is that? Okay, so this is really hard to determine or know what it really means. So I'm just gonna get rid of it as well. So delete. And what is this one too? I think agent. So agent, I don't really know whether this is about where they booked their hotel stays from. I don't know whether it's like through an agency or all by themselves. I don't know, but I'm just gonna get rid of this because I don't really need it. All right, so it's gone. Then booking changes. Okay, so whether people change their booking or not, I mean, it's all up to you what you want to do with it. It's all like that. So you can see that at each turn, we seem to be getting the data to look nicer and like with less columns and stuff like that to do with. Yeah, so that is that for this particular session. Now we're going to move on to the next session, and from the next section we're going to talk more about how we can use functions, like count if, or at least like count blank or unique functions to continue cleaning the data. So stay tuned. Hi, great. So let's continue. Now, remember, to clean the data set, it's all up to you. It basically means getting rid of what you don't really need and also put in what you really want to make good use of in a very nice way or an easy way to recognize. So that is what we're continuously doing here. Now, what we're going to do is to get rid of some stuff, maybe a bit of that for now. Then we'll continue to look at some functions that we could use to clean the data. Now, I'm going to focus mainly on blanks and also unique. Unique is available to Excel 2019. No, I think Excel 2020 and beyond. So if you have like Excel 2019, Excel 2017, 16, and the rest, you're not going to have this unique function. But there is also an alternative to it, and we're going to use both for you to get a feel of how they look like. So now from here, I want to know, for instance, how many categories of reservation status we have. So I can see there's checkout here. I can see there's canceled here. Are these the only two status we have? If not, then how do we check for that? So you could use the unique function. Now, this is how you can use the unique function. So we just use it here. So we just, as usual, put equal to, then we start typing unique, and you can see it appears down here. Then you select unique, right? And when you select unique, you go to the column you want to check. So we want to check the reservation status, right? So we select the entire column. Then we just close it, right? So the same way we close it and we press enter. Now look at it over here. So we have the reservation status, which means there are only three categories. You either check out or you canceled or you did not show at all. So we have checkout, canceled, and no show. So we can also use the unique function to check for like the same thing. For instance, mail plan, we're going to do that one as well. But let's see how we can check it using the filter function. We can also select the whole status like this here, the reservation status. Then we go to the data button. Then we select filter. So when we select the filter, now we can come here and filter out those videos. So clearly we can see that there are only three: canceled, check out, and also no show, which means basically every single person in this list or in this row defined their status or did indicate their reservation status, either cancel, check out, or no show. Right, so that is also one way of checking. In the same way, if we want to check for just those who canceled, we could just select, unselect everything and just select cancel, and we press OK, and we can see from here. So these are the people from Murphy to the rest. You can scroll down to see the last person who really canceled. In the same way, we just go back to, if we want to know checkout, we just select checkout, and we see from Ernest Barnes to the rest. So that is how this one also goes. So you could also use the filter button to check out for the categories. Now let's go on to use it also for here, for this part here. So we're going to check the mail plan. How many categories do exist in the mail plan? From here, we'll be able to even check which mail plan was most selected amongst all of them. So we can use the unique function. So in the same way, we go to displays and we just type equal to, right? And we start typing unique. It'll appear. Then we select the whole column. Then we close it and we press enter. So it tells us the same thing here. Let's make this bold, or you could use Control B to make it bold. Then we have B, probably bed and breakfast. I don't know the meaning of these ones, but at least it gives us these categories, right? The key to the data will give us the explanations to these ones, and also undefined, which means there are a couple of people who did not state whether they wanted to like eat with a hotel or they just wanted to, I mean, provide their own food, stuff like that. Yes. So this is one way of checking for, the uniqueness of data. I mean, or the categories of it. In the same way, we can even go here to check for. This is the market segment, which is also very important. We want to know uh, which market segment, in this case, whether people bought tickets directly, or is it a corporate hotel booking, or is it just like online, or is it offline, and the rest. To know that, we have to also go and use a unique function, or simply we can just go here once again, use the filter button, go to data, then we select the filter. When there's something around a line around the filter, it means that it's selected. So we go here and we check, and we're able to see that there are actually more categories, because here we could only see a few. Now there's aviation, that is those who probably booked, from the aviation field. Complementary is also there. There's corporate, there is direct, there's groups, there is offline, online, and undefined. So these are very nice ways of checking to see whether um, your data categories are clean or not. So here it means the undefined is also a category. It doesn't mean that it's blank. It just means that there's a category. So we just press OK, and that's it. Now let's go on to do the same for the countries. Clearly, I can see from here, or we can all see that Wilson Diamond, right, did not state his country. So we didn't know where Wilson is really from, right? But we could clearly see that there might be other people who did not also state, anything when it came to their country status. So to do that and to clear it off, because we may not really need it for um, this, or we may need it, but it's all up to you. I think that I would need it because I'm going to analyze and visualize this on Tableau as well. So I want to be able to categorize, I mean, like the number of people in the countries they are from, which also inform, markets and, inform decisions about that. So I want to check for that. And to do that, I just want to select the whole thing again and use the filter button. So we select the filter button here, right? We select the whole category and we put the filter button, and we can see now how many countries showed here. If we find anything that states blank, it means that some people did not put up anything when it came to the country status. So now we can see there is blanks. When we scroll down, we can see there's blanks, which clearly means that some people did not state their country status, and I want to work with it. So I want to get it clean. So which means I'm going to delete all those people. I'm going to delete those who did not state their country status. Now I'm going to just select the blanks for us to see. So this is the blanks, and we press OK, and you can see that there is empty, or there are empty rows here, which means all the people from Wilson to, Christina, we can scroll down, and to Kelly did not state their countries, and we want to work with it. So if they did not state it, I guess we want to kind of clear it, or we want to delete it. So we select here and we press Control Shift to select the whole um, cell. Then in the same way we do Control Shift, then the down arrow keys, right, to select the entire data set, and we write people without uh, country status, and we could see that it is empty here, right? So